segment. It's going to be called Truck Talks, which are kind of just going to be strictly business talks about documenting what's going on. So I own Lumina Roofing Exteriors and Lumina Homes here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. So yeah, let's get right into it. So essentially what's going on right now is I'm just driving to the office. It's around noon. Pretty much like we've had a lot of major hailstorms in Calgary. So if anybody knows anything about Calgary, we're pretty much the hailstorm alley of North America. I know Texas gets a bunch, but they're not to the size and significance that we get out here. So pretty much what happens in a hailstorm and what's happening right now is like, obviously there's a lot of fly-by-nighters. There's a lot of guys who do work for extremely cheap because the hail tends to take out large parts of the city, usually the north end. We have had some smaller hailstorms, which are like the southeast and the southwest, but a lot of the times it's in the north tail end of the city. And what happens is like the following years after a hailstorm, jobs get pretty scarce because one, all of the aging roofs in those areas that otherwise would have had to be replaced end up getting done through insurance. So usually the homeowner would have been paying for them, but that's not the case anymore. Number two, because there's so many fly-by-nighters and contractors who are really cheap and kind of come out of nowhere or move here, they're doing jobs for extremely cheap. Obviously competition goes through the roof. In cases like that, the next year or two, usually, depending on how big of a player you are in the industry, it gets a little slow. And like obviously like this weekend I was out giving estimates and stuff, and we're not having a pretty late winter. A lot of the times snow kind of continues on into the early days of May in Calgary pretty often. But yeah, we're pretty much in April right now, April the 13th. So essentially what happens is like snow's continuing on late into the season. Obviously you don't want to start ripping off roofs, opening yourself up to liability. At the same time, it's also harder to clean when there's snow on the ground. Obviously nails get lost in snow and ice, so you don't want to deal with all of that shit either. So yeah, that's what's going on with the roofing industry, or at least my company. And so like moving on forward this year, obviously lead flow is going to be something really important to think about, because if you're running ads, for example, those ads end up costing you a lot more money than otherwise, because now it's so competitive and the same keywords will cost you a lot more money. Same thing with Meta and Google. So if anybody knows how like Meta ads work or like Google ads work, keywords get really expensive when there's a lot of competition and a lot of companies paying for them, which means that leads get more expensive, which means your CAC, your customer acquisition cost, also goes through the roof. So that's something that's going to be happening in the industry, and it's mainly because there's so many cheap guys now, there's so many fly-by-nighters. And this is where like my last video, one of the videos I was talking about, has so much significance on why you should have a brand and why you should be building a brand and why you need to dedicate 10 years to it. Because currently we have a brand, although pretty young. So like I started in the industry when I was 22, so 2019. And like obviously over the years I have built like a referral base. We have customers who are repeat, or we have like family members, friends, and you know, like we do better than a lot of other roofing companies. And that's why like I'm going to be in business in 20, 30, 40 years or whatever, right? And a lot of the new guys I'm actually seeing is like, because I think the world has just become a lot more entrepreneurial. I think Gen Z in general is, and what's happening is I'm seeing a lot of guys who are coming in with private equity, or they're looking to sell. So like you're not building your company because you want to be in the company. Fuck, I'm getting a call. Hold on. Awesome. So back to what I was saying was, so yeah, like just money management is shit in the construction industry, I think, altogether. Like owners of companies, crews especially. Obviously like drug usage is a major issue too. Drug usage is an issue. Obviously money management is an issue in the industry as well. So this year now there's just going to be a lot of fly-by-nighters, and like jobs are going to be bid on really cheaply. Marketing also gets more expensive because everybody who's big is going to be ramping up their marketing to get their jobs and to rely on their brands, which is why I was saying that branding is so important. That's kind of what's going on with the roofing industry. So it's going to be interesting. You know, luckily I'm good with my money. Like obviously there's years where you go into your troughs and you have your highs and your peaks and your valleys. And in an industry where it's very cyclical, especially with major hailstorms, a lot of the times it's something completely new that everybody kind of has to just navigate. So we're dealing with that. In terms of building, so with Lumina Homes, what's going on is, like, I know I posted a video of the flip from a couple of weeks ago. We actually had a really interesting scenario with that. The bin guy actually was picking up one of the disposal bins, and he ended up pulling out, and I guess he ripped one of the overhead wires out, which was a live wire for the electrical from NMAX. So now we had to call out NMAX and change all of that out, which kind of delayed that job by 2 weeks. So that's what's going on with that. And yeah, like again, like I bought that house in cash, so obviously like I don't have a lot of carrying costs on it, but I will be breaking down the numbers when it does sell and it does get listed and all of that. So that's the good stuff going on with the house with Lumina Homes, Lumina Roofing and Exteriors. I kind of explained what's going on with the roofing industry. Pretty much everything for today's truck talk. That's everything that's going on in the business for myself personally and where we're at. So yeah, that kind of sums up everything. Oh, energy drink. For the energy drink, like another thing that I'm having to navigate right now is like, usually I'm very big on focusing on one or two things and that's it, and just being consistent with it, because like in my head I think that the deeper you go, the better you get at things, and the more effective you are, rather than spreading your energy and your attention really thin, your focus among other things. And now I have these three things going on, and I'm starting to sort of feel very pulled in different directions, and actually starting to feel like my focus isn't as good as it should be. And like, so with the energy drink, we have the can design almost done. I've paid the graphic designer. We have to register the trademark for the actual logo once the logo's finalized. The first batch run is going to be done in the next month or so. Right now they're doing can testing, like shelf life testing, and all of the good stuff that you need to have these cans last on shelf and actually be viable, I guess. So yeah, like it's all product viability stuff and testing is being done right now, and that should be done in the next week to 2 weeks, and then we'll be moving on into actually doing that. And like, I've been reading and researching a lot on like TikTok shop, running meta ads for it, and like retargeting and targeting and trying to get the energy drink out there when it does come out. So like, that's something that I'm having to do on the side while running the roofing and exterior company, while with the home building company. So yeah, there's a lot going on, and you know, I have 2 dogs, and I'm actively navigating going to the gym and being healthy and just trying to live my life. So yeah, needless to say, I am pretty anxious to get the roofing and exteriors part going. With the weather, it's been snowing so often, like I don't want to take the risk with people's houses. That's just my idea. Like, it is somewhat of a seasonal business. Like, it is March, April to like November, December usually, and that's when we start getting our snow and stuff. So yeah, like obviously there are setbacks. This year is going to be really interesting. I don't think it's going to be a huge problem. I'm not too stressed out about it. But it is like a thought at the back of my head, because I am going up against a lot of competition, you know, and it's easy to beat them, but you do have to come in at a price that still makes sense. Like, you know, if the price gap is so big between you and your competitor, there's only so much you can make up for, even with brand, right? Stay tuned for the next video. This is pretty much the update on everything in the businesses. And I think I am going to try to take you guys along on more of like the estimates that I do, like running the day-to-day of the business operations, just because I think like documenting that is really interesting. You know, like I don't want this channel to be about materialistic shit, because I feel like there's so many channels that just do that. Like, I think there's channels that are trying to earn your legibility, right, and be like, oh hey, like I'm this, I'm that, and like I kind of just want to document what's going on, just so, you know, anybody who's watching can have some insight and kind of just document it for myself as well. So yeah, see you guys.